Good morning, traders. How's everyone doing? Good morning, good morning. If you're joining us, say hello in the chat. Max, G-Man, Shez, Paul, Maverick, Clint. Good morning, you guys. Good to see you. How's it going, Scott? Going well. It's been a good morning so far. All right. Taking a look at the game plan so far. This is what I shared in Discord last night. That's why I've actually taken a trade already and I'm in another trade. But the plan was if it held above this 800 level that we bounced at yesterday, I was thinking we would head up towards yesterday's point of control. So I actually got in a trade and targeted like 887, I think was my target. That's where I got out. Getting a little pullback now. Got to bounce off of VWAP. So targeting this point of control, I do think that we could head back up there. That's a lot of times a magnet for price. Also, it's an area of high volume. When you turn on the visible range volume profile on the higher time frame, like look at that high volume node right there. We have a little bit right here, so I could see us getting a pullback at 920-ish if we do end up going higher at the open. But the bigger volume is at point of control at like 947. So if the market opens up, that's where I could see us kind of stopping, maybe, unless this is just a bullish day and we're going to all-time highs again. But point of control is kind of my upward target. And then if we're going to have some downside, there's lots of targets below if this is a bearish day. I would want to see it get back below this 800-ish level. Maybe a little bit below, like previous day low, 780-ish before I decide to take shorts. But for now, higher time frame, it's just a pullback for longs. So that is the plan. So this is a position I'm in right now. I don't love it. It's a small risk position. I don't love that it's not continuing, I guess I should say. I do think it's a good trade. It was a bounce off of VWAP and this higher time frame support that I have on this gray shaded area. So it's a good setup. There's quite a bit of confluence for it. It's just hard because it's pre-market and it's kind of chopping around a little bit. And I'm kind of just betting on the fact that the market's going to open up and the algos aren't going to like whip around and hit my stop loss in the process. But yeah, this was the trade I took last night. I entered on the fact that my trading plan was, if it was right, that was my idea. It held this support level, started to go up. I added a little bit as it crossed VWAP. And this was overnight, like it was 11 o'clock at night. I was sleeping. So I set my stop loss at break even and set my target, my TP, and it hit overnight. I did try the idea a couple times. This one right here got stopped out at break even. This one was a loss. It was not a great trade. I chased it a little bit, but my thought was that it was going to hold value area low. So that one first was a loss, then a break even, and then finally the idea worked out. Good morning, everyone. So let's see if we open up. In the next like 2 or 3 minutes, if we do start to move up a little bit, I'll probably move my stop loss to break even just to like eliminate risk because I can always re-enter if my idea was right. But we are below a couple of anchored VWAPs right now. This purple anchored VWAP is from the London Open. And then this light blue anchored VWAP is from yesterday's New York session open. So we're kind of stuck below that. We'll see if it gets above there. Did anyone else take any trades last night or this morning? Or is everyone flat so far? No trades. Max says not yet. Rob, you're in a long. Oh, weren't you talking to me in Discord? You said you took pretty much the same trade. I saw someone comment that. I thought it was you. Yeah, it was you. Yeah, Scott, Asia's a hard session to trade. I don't know, honestly, not sure if I should trade it. I do like Sunday nights because it usually opens up with a little more volatility, a little more volume. If it's slow and choppy, I need to get better at avoiding it. So, yeah. It's a tough one with the overnight session. I think waiting until, like for me, I do well if it's moving and I've had a couple of hours to watch price action. If I take losses in the Asia session is when I try to trade right at the open. Like right at 5 p.m. for me, Central Time, or 6 p.m. Eastern. Like this trade right here. Dumb. Why did I do that? There wasn't really any price action. The only reason I took this long is because it opened up with momentum and I was thinking it would hold above value area low. So that was a dumb trade. I should have been more patient because my idea was right. I was just too early and I chased it. But if you're patient in the Asia session, a lot of times it respects the New York session's session volume profile levels. Market's open in about 3 minutes. Another thing you can do too, Scott, is if you use volume profile, I don't know if it's a part of your strategy, but I do. So I can use the previous day's New York session volume profile, and then add on a fixed range volume profile for the start of the Asia session. And let's say I start trading at like 7:30 Central Time, so 2.5 hours into the open. I would have this much data, and sometimes there's areas of confluence, like maybe the point of control is at the same level or something like that. So that's usually what I do during the Asia session, is use the current volume profile from the open of the overnight combined with yesterday's New York session volume profile, and that helps a lot. Kind of gives double confluence combined with like VWAP and higher time frame, like visible range volume profile levels, all those things together. If those set up during Asia, my win rate is a lot better. I just need to be patient and wait for those. That's the issue, is being patient and waiting for it. All right, getting a little move up. We have 1 minute till the open. What I'm gonna do is just put it right below this wick. Maybe a little bit of room. I don't want to risk too much because the algos get crazy in the open and it could just dump. So I'm okay with risking $100. My target is up at yesterday's point of control, 948. Another thing you can do, Scott, which I actually preaching to myself here, I need to start doing, is if you use Project X, don't just click the lockout button for locking out all day. Lockout, do the custom lockout and lock it out until like 7 p.m. or whenever you want to actually let yourself take a trade. That way, for me, talking to myself, that way I'm not taking a trade right at 5 p.m. Central when the market opens. Because that's just dumb. Like, I have my journal, I have my data. I know that my win rate during that time is not good. All right. Getting a little push up, but now we're pulling back. Let's see if we get continuation. Nope. Okay. I was okay with that risk. I was following my plan. Stop loss might have just been a little bit too tight. How much would that suck if it bounced and came back up? So the bottom of this high volume node is sitting at like 860. So it could come down there and then reclaim VWAP. That's a possibility. But already taken that one loss, so I don't want to rush anything. I didn't mark off my levels yet. So here's Asia high, Asia low, getting a pullback. Here's London high. London low sitting right at the bottom of the VWAP standard deviation band. Might be a decent liquidity grab and bounce opportunity. This thing's going. Last night in my funded accounts, I took it in my TradeDay and my Lucid Pro accounts. So the one I'm trading with you guys today is a backup eval, a Lucid test account. Because what I like to do is have 5 Pro accounts, and then I'm working on adding 5 backup Pro accounts since they don't have a monthly fee. Coming down to yesterday's value area low, so far getting a bounce. But I don't want to try to pick a bottom because that was a pretty heavy sell-off in the open. Yeah, that was a nice bounce off of value area low. Let's see if it holds though, or if it gets a little bounce and then continues lower. We have Asia low at 811. That's the low of the day so far. And it's at the bottom of like a higher time frame, high volume node. That would be a good opportunity for a bounce. And then if that doesn't hold, previous day low for a bounce. And if that doesn't hold, then we're going short. We're going down into the dumps. Good morning, Waffles. G-Man, is it still buffering or is it getting better? Okay. Well, it's not holding value very low. Looks like it wants to come lower. So, gonna watch to see how it reacts at Asia low, which is around 811. So what I watch for on like a liquidity grab type of trade is obvious buyers showing up. And then if it's like, since we're going to be kind of going against the trend of the open, not the higher time frame trend obviously, but like the New York open trend, I would move my stop loss to break even pretty aggressively. If we're taking a long, obviously. Got to see if we get a bounce first. Because, again, this is looking pretty heavy. Don't want to try to pick a bottom unless we have a reason to enter. We don't really have any news today. We have crude oil about an hour after the open. That shouldn't affect NQ that much. And then we have a Fed speaker later this afternoon, right before market close. That's about it though. It's trying to hold here. I'm entering a long. So based on the fact that it's holding that value area low from yesterday, that was the regular trading hours, like gap fill, I guess if you want to call it that. And we had that heavy sell-off and it wasn't continuing. So trying along. And I'll probably scale out on the way up, but let's see if we can get back up to that point of control, which was 948. Going against the trend, so could be bad news. 0.25 is where I entered. So far, this is looking like our 15-minute opening range. Oh, that was a big rejection. That didn't look good. Buyers are trying to hold it. Where is VWAP? VWAP is in the middle of the range. It's got to break back above there. Yeah, agreed, G-Man. This could go lower. What's it gonna be? There's a battle going on, that's for sure. All right, looks like it wants lower. Is this gonna be another day like yesterday where I'd sit in a position for like 55 minutes through the chop? That was annoying. I don't know if I have the mental capacity for that again. I was trying to zoom out and see if there was a better perspective to look at. Nope, the 2 minutes not any better. Look at all those wicks on the top side. I'm going to get stopped out. It's going to make me suffer through a slow and painful death. Just get it over with already. Oh, man. If you're going to bounce, do it already. If you're going to stop me out, do it. Oh, man. It was almost a relief to get it over with. Jeez. All right, so we're technically breaking out outside of the bottom of the range, but no continuation yet. If this thing ends up bouncing up, then I'm going to be annoyed. Could have just given it a little more room. There's still no sign of buyers like buying this thing back up, so it's going lower. All right, new plan. Where are we headed now? We got Asia low, which is the low of the day. Possible liquidity grab and bounce, so 811-ish if it has a super strong buy up from there. And then maybe reclaim the 15-minute opening range low, possibly. I don't want to keep trying to pick bottoms though, so gonna be patient with these. If it doesn't hold here, we have previous day low at 24,779. Continuing down. There you go, Scott. Good stuff. Yeah, you're right. Waiting for confirmation, Maverick. Obviously, I'm not entering a launching. I was buying up and like reclaimed that 15-minute opening range low. I would have added to my position. So that's usually how I trade those. All right, coming down to previous day low. We got 779, and then if you look left, there's a little bit of liquidity, a little bit lower too, so it could like come down below previous day low before bouncing if it is gonna bounce. But if not, like if it comes down and holds below these levels, that's where in my trading plan B, the red scenario was previous day low. If we break below and we kind of bounce and continue this sell-off, I mean, we don't have a whole lot of support. Like biggest support is down here at 537. So that's the bearish scenario today. But we're kind of coming down to that make or break, for me, line in the sand. It's got to start holding here. G-Man took a long on gold. Kind of makes sense if NQ's dumping that gold would be going up. It came down to my support level, didn't come all the way down to previous day low though, so that's a little annoying. I'm entering a small position because it bounced quite a bit before I got in. I'll add to it if we get close back above the opening range, kind of showing confirmation of the bounce. Stop loss really should go below previous day low. Probably should have been more patient and wait for that candle to close. Because now that I see the 5-minute close, that wasn't a lovely close. We gotta reclaim some of these levels here for this to be a good trade. Where do we have New York anchored VWAP? I didn't put it on this chart yet. So far, the bounce is continuing. But this could just be a bounce to continue lower too. Gotta get through some resistance to continue up. We do have the 15-minute opening range low and VWAP kind of right at the same spot. So it needs to break above like 838 for this trade to even have a chance. Moving my stop loss up to the wick. Is this where the grind starts? I hope not. Decent tail on the bottom of that 15-minute candle. It's just got to keep going up. All right, here's the test. It's got to break above opening range low and VWAP. That's the main. And they're going short. So what's it going to be? Yeah, news at 10 a.m. I have mine filtered to just red folder news, so I don't see anything. Is it like orange or yellow or something? The only news that I have up is crude oil inventories at 10:30 Eastern. Yeah, G-Man, that's what I'm hoping for. But you know, everybody and their sister is going short right here. So let's see. If we get a little pop, some good buying volume, and we hold above VWAP in the opening range, maybe we get to like 840-ish, and we hold there, I'll add to my position. I have home sales tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I just had to look at my calendar. I'm like, am I on the right day? We have home sales yesterday or tomorrow and today? Huh. Yeah, my financial juice says U.S. existing home sales tomorrow at 10 o'clock Eastern. So maybe there's two of them. That's weird. So either Financial Juice is wrong or they report the same thing twice, 2 days in a row. Oh, new home sales is today. Existing home sales is tomorrow. Gotcha. I don't pretend to understand the news. I just watch when there's red folder news so that I can stay out of the market during those times. All right. There we go. Getting to move up. Let's see if we hold above. I'm going to move to the 2-minute chart. If we get a 2-minute closure above VWAP, I'm going to add to my position and trail my stop a little bit tighter. Yeah, tomorrow, Thursday and Friday, we have some good news. Like high volatility stuff that'll move the market. All right, adding to my position, trailing my stop. And let's see, this thing could stop at opening range high and we're just going to continue lower. Or if today is bullish, I think point of control is what I want to target. So I'm going to scale out as we go. Take note, Marvel, red folder just means a high impact. It could be long or short. It doesn't mean it's going to sell. It just means in one direction or the other. So it's not a good idea to be holding a trade when news comes out unless you're already like well into position and you can put your stop loss at break even and have zero risk. But even then, sometimes, depending on the news, it can move really fast and blow through your stop loss. So you could even take a loss still. It's just pretty risky, especially some of the really big news like CPI, PPI, FOMC, that kind of stuff. So I personally filter my Financial Juice to just red folder news. Because if you show all the news, there's some like yellow folder stuff that doesn't move the market at all, in my opinion, in my experience. So I don't really pay attention to when those come out. Yeah, NQ and MNQ are pretty much the same on the charts. Usually the price is the same. Every once in a while there's tiny discrepancies, but they're pretty much the same. Well, that's not a good sign. It retested anchored VWAP and it looks like it's rejecting. Gotta get back above. Come on. Rob, this VWAP is anchored at the New York Open candle. So for me, that's 8:30 Central Time. And I actually moved to the 1 minute chart so that I can put it on like the exact opening candle. That's VWAP. That's the anchored VWAP. I also have the indicator on my trading view that's just like the overnight, the session VWAP or overnight VWAP, whatever you want to call it. And that's at the overnight open. So at 5 o'clock Central Time, or 5 p.m. Central. And then as we continue throughout the day, I'll anchor them at the high and the low if they're applicable. Like for now, if I was looking for shorts, which I hope I'm right and shorts are not the play because I'm looking for longs. If I was looking for shorts, I could put an anchored VWAP at this low candle. And as soon as we broke the VWAP to the downside, I could enter a short. And then the reverse is true on the top. Like if we're in an uptrend and maybe we make a high and we get a pullback, I could anchor at the top, at the high, and then take a long when we cross VWAP. So that's how I use anchored VWAPs. Yeah, G-Man. Shorts might be the play because I'm just thinking of Evan Dyer and his main setup is this. He's probably shorting right now because we had a breakout to the downside, the 15-minute opening range break. We came back up and retested VWAP and we're rejecting. That's where you would enter short. The biggest thing I like to watch on the 15-minute opening range breaks is the higher time frame. Like, yeah, the New York Open trend is down. But higher time frame, like talking 30-minute, 1 hour, I don't know. That's why I don't want to short here. Because to me, at least from my trading plan and what I looked at, I wouldn't really want to short until we get below this 760-ish level. But again, it's starting to look like I'm wrong because buyers aren't taking this thing up. There you go, Kano, good job. Aw, G-Man, don't tell me that. I don't want to see a bunch of orders to the downside. I want to see a bunch of orders to the upside. Could be. I could be. Honestly, I feel okay with it though. Like I'm following my game plan. My game plan was longs if we hold above this 800 level. And so far we are. If we break below 770-ish, then I'll change and look for shorts. Yeah, Top Cat, I 100% agree. The thing I've found though is we're like, we're in the zone. We're not like way below value area. It's almost like buyers are trying to defend this level. Like to me, value area low is an area. And if you zoom out a little bit and include like the 30-minute time frame, so there's volume outside of just yesterday, look at this higher time frame, high volume node. Like to me, this is a decent area where buyers could defend it. If I zoom out even more, that's why I'm not super quick to take shorts here. And we're right at the general vicinity of value area low. So this would give me even more confirmation if we like reclaim that. I could see us pushing a lot higher. In general, if it's holding below yesterday's value area low, usually that would mean shorts. But to me, that's an area. I don't think it's quite below it yet. It's an area that's being fought over. Holding us back right now. 15-minute opening range low, New York anchored VWAP, and then we have the overnight VWAP too at like 850. So reclaiming. You guys better give me a freaking huge virtual high five if I'm right. And everyone in the chat is telling me that I'm wrong. I'm not like claiming it yet because we still need confirmation. But you better be giving me some high fives. If this thing breaks 850, it could move up fast. Because, like I said, everyone's shorting right now. There's going to be a whole reasoning behind coming. Yesterday, we held a key level at 24,800. So I'm not saying like overall we're going back to all-time highs. My point of control is still a lower high at point of control. We could go lower in the coming days, but my thought, again, I could be wrong. I'm not claiming that I know. My thought is we'll get a bounce today. You wouldn't let that trade go red again? No, Maverick, I've learned, and this is just through journaling, when I mess with my trade and I move my stop loss too much, I usually get stopped out at break even, and then it'll often go to my target. And that really pisses me off, puts me on tilt, and I usually end up chasing and tilting. So the least painful scenario is to sit through it and let it play out and be okay with my losses. Like, I feel like this is a good trade. All of my confluences are lining up. If I'm wrong, Okay, I'm wrong. The only time I move my stop loss super quick is if I feel like I chased it, or like I got into something that wasn't based on my strategy or going way against the trend or whatever. Like, looking back through my trade logs, if I move my stop loss really quickly like that, it's because it's a trade I probably should not have entered. Hey, Nick, that wouldn't be luck. That would be reading price action, buddy. I don't think trading is luck. I mean, some, I guess, but if you enter a 50-50 chance on news or something like that. When to buy or sell? Just copy trade, Joey. Make sure to go to NQ. Totally kidding, by the way, if any of you actually are new. I just gave opposite advice. Don't listen to what I just said. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what's going on with the stream buffering. Maybe I need to turn off my computer more often, let things kind of reset. High five for following my plan. Thanks, Scott. I think that's why I can sit through this trade and feel okay about it. If I take a loss, for me, I'll count it as a good loss. Following the trading plan that I set up before this, confluences for me were lining up, and I'm okay with taking losses. It's part of the game. Part of the game. It has lately. Last couple weeks have been tough. All right, it's not holding this opening range low, and it's coming back down. I don't like it. We do have initial balance setting up in 5 minutes. The chop is real. Yeah, there have been a couple 5-minute candles that don't look very nice for longs. Gosh, you guys, when are we going to get out of this chop trend that we've been having? I feel like, I don't know, a month? Like, I don't have data on this, but I feel like it's been quite a while where we have a good, decent first 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, and then it just chops for like 2 hours, and then maybe we get some movement again in the afternoon. But it didn't used to be like this. I thought that was only like a summer lull thing. When are we supposed to get back to good stuff? October should be better. I hope so. I thought that's what everyone was saying in August, though. They're like, September will be better after Labor Day. September did not get better. Yeah, earnings season. I could see that. I just thought since we were starting to have like more CPI, PPI, FOMC, like that stuff coming out, that it would start to move. We have a couple days here and there when we actually have news and it moves. But outside of that, it's like, what in the world? I feel like I'm trading the Asia session right now, you guys. Max Sauce, how long have you been trading? Right at 1 year. I actually started with my first prop firm account in September of 2024, and that's when I like started to join different like trading Discord groups and stuff. I watched a few videos before then. Like I kind of started to dabble in just learning and watching videos a couple months before then, but I didn't actually start trading until September of 2024. And I jumped right in. Like I didn't really do paper trading for more than 3 or 4 days because I found it was boring, and I could also tell that I wasn't really trying that hard because it's easy. There's no emotion behind it. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to just throw on like 10 contracts and make $50,000. So I jumped straight into prop firms when I found out about it. So at least I had a little bit of emotional buy-in. So 1 year to answer your question. Picked like strategy and stuff up pretty quickly. Like I have a decent read on price action and have a decent win rate and stuff. I'm not claiming to be great or anything. I'm not a great trader, but I picked up on strategy pretty well. It's still like the risk management, emotional side of things that gets me sometimes. I'm a lot better at it. Like I've taken more consistent payouts over the last month than I have in the last year. But that's the part that's holding me back at this point. Like I'll have some really good streaks where I have like 5 green days in a row, or like last month I put together, I think I had 12 winning days out of a 3-week period. So 12 out of 15. Like I was really good. And then just have one dumb day where I don't follow my rules. Like those kind of things still happen every once in a while. I haven't completely blown an account in one day in months, because I have loss limits where I like lock out my account at a certain number. So I've had a couple periods in the last month where in 4 days, I hit my daily loss limit 4 days in a row and I lost my accounts. So those kind of things are what's holding me back at this point. But in terms of like strategy, I've got a decent hold on that. So yeah, anyone who's new here, we have a lot of viewers in the chat and quite a few new faces in Discord. If you were looking for like an expert guru who's pulling $50,000 out of the market every month, that's not me. I'm just a newbie trader. I've been doing it for about a year. And I'm just showing you guys what works for me. And trying to be transparent with the journey, showing the wins, showing the losses. I mean, in my videos, you'll see trade recaps where I have a $4,000 day, but you'll also see days where I like blow my funded account 2 days before I was about to get a payout. So I'm trying to share the ups and downs, be transparent about it, and hopefully provide some inspiration for anyone else who's new on their journey. Alrighty, so I was wrong. Looks like we're gonna get some continuation lower. Going back to my chart, in terms of my game plan, like what I was thinking before I saw price action this morning when I charted things up last night, I was thinking if we held this 800-ish level, I would be looking for longs. It's starting to get right to that level, like previous day low. And then this liquidity over here to the left at like 760, 749. If it gets below that, that's when I would be interested in shorts. Hi, Mama. I just saw your question. Hopefully that answered for you what I just said. My game plan today was if we hold the 800 level, I would be looking for longs. So we're kind of still in that general area. We do have initial balance set now, which is at 785. That's the bottom. So one of my favorite setups is initial balance failed auction. Joey Morgan, learn from the best. That's his trade right there. So that actually would be an A+ setup for me. Here is initial balance low. Go ahead and draw that there. So a liquidity grab plus an initial balance failed auction is my favorite trade. So what that would look like is this liquidity over here at like 778 is right below our initial balance low. So if it came down and grabbed that liquidity and we got a quick bounce up, that would be what I'd look at. Dang it, you guys. I'm gonna be so annoyed if we bounce and go from here. Didn't quite come down to initial balance low. Stopped me out and then moved up. Ah, that would be so annoying. Come back down. Come down to 778. Grab previous day low liquidity and then bounce. Come on. Give it to me. It's rejecting VWAP again. Ha mama, re-enter? No, heck no. Then I'd be chasing it. There's no reason to re-enter there because that's a weird spot to bounce. Could be a fake bounce and then it's going to come down and grab that liquidity before going up. And then it would just stop. Got to be patient for the right end. And I was wrong. Get out of here. Just kidding. By the way, if you guys aren't in Discord, click the link in the description. I did share that. I share my thoughts and levels and game plan each night. And so far I've gotten one good trade off of it, holding the 800 level. Took a trade off of that. And then that would be kind of what shaded level was my line in the sand for shorts, which would also be in line with initial balance. So if we get a failed auction and we hold this level and bounce, so that'd be a failed auction trade. If we break out below, if we get a really big sell-off and we retest this level, then we could look for shorts. So that's what I'm waiting for at this point. See what happens when we get back down to IB low. Oops, I labeled it as IB high. That's not right. This is IB low. Oh, you guys, we got 82 people watching. We got 37 likes. Let's go fix that. We could quickly get up to like 50 or 60 likes. Everyone go hit that like button. It helps me out, helps spread the word. I appreciate it. And if you guys want to support the channel, if you like my trading, if you want to follow me, if you use any of the prop firms that I have listed up top, those are all prop firms that I have traded with or are currently trading with. I used to trade with all of them, honestly, but I got a little bit overwhelmed and was starting to trade like a degen and like blow accounts. So I started to limit myself, and I'm currently only trading with two, Lucid and TradeDay. But I like all of those platforms. So if you guys ever want to trade with Tradeify, Top One, Lucid, TradeDay, and I also have traded with the Futures Desk. You can support the channel by using my code Krista. I appreciate it. What's the position bracket enabled square box on Project X? Do you know? So it's on my to-do list to go figure out how that works. But if anyone has ever traded with NinjaTrader or Trade of 8, the idea is that it's similar to that. You can set auto bracket orders based on your strategy, and you can set different, like, I guess automatic, kind of what I said before. But as soon as you enter a position, you can set it to have a certain stop loss, like a certain amount of pips or a certain amount of dollars or whatever away. And then you can set multiple take profits. So right now, if you are to enter a position in Project X, you would like drag your take profit. And then if you want to hit add partials, you would just right click and limit sell or limit buy. But then if your position gets stopped out, you still have that limit order sitting there. So with the new brackets, you can set multiple take profit points and it'll close your whole position if your stop loss is hit. So I couldn't tell you exactly how to use it right now because I still need to look it up myself, but that's the idea behind it. Yeah, it is annoying that it's right in the middle of the screen right there. I don't like that. All right, still kind of chopping around. Hasn't come back down to IB low yet. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for. Gonna be patient and see if it hits there. I really hope it doesn't just continue up from here. That would be annoying. You brought your rebounder into your office. Just sitting there on your bouncy ball. This is the level of patience that I struggle with. You guys in the chat were talking about how I have good patience and discipline. This is where I struggle. Like seeing that it might go without me and staying patient and waiting for it to actually come back down to IB low and resisting the urge to just enter a long now because it could go without me. That's what's going on in my head right now. You're waiting for shorts. Well, we're back up to the 15-minute opening range low. Might be a spot where it rejects here. Oh, man. Is this going to be the time when it breaks out? Kind of looks like it. If you guys are waiting to enter a short, if it comes back up here to VWAP at 24,842 and it rejects from there, that might be a decent spot to enter a short. I'm not going to, because personally, my game plan is longs if we hold above this level, and we are holding. What does the 15-minute look like? $15-minute still looks pretty ugly for longs. Shorts might be the way to go. 15-minute looks like doo-doo. Yep. I'll give it a couple more minutes and wait and see if we do end up rejecting from here and come back down to initial balance low and see what happens at that level. But for now, it's just choppy and gross and might not be something that I'm going to trade. If this 15-minute candle turns bullish, though, we still have 8 minutes left, so there's a long time until it closes. But that would be quite a turnaround. If this thing ends up turning around from here and like going up to my original target of point of control, then I'm definitely going to have to journal this as a mismanaged trade. Because you can see here, my original stop loss was below this wick. And I would be, if I was still in a position, I would be in profit, looking pretty good right now. But when it moved up above VWAP, I added to my position and I ended up trailing my stop loss to, I think, below this wick. I'll have to look back at my executions, but that's what stopped me out. and then continued back up. So obviously I'll have to look back and see how price action actually plays out. But if this ends up holding here and going up, yep, I'll have to journal that as a mismanaged trade. Still rejecting this level. The New York anchored VWAP and 15-minute opening range low level at like 825-ish. It's not able to break above there. Gonna see what happens down here. Down. If it ever comes down here to 785. Waiting for a trade at this level. So initial balance a lot of times holds as the range for the day. So a failed auction trade, what they call it, is basically like a fake breakout. But I like it when it's a liquidity grab, which that would be the case if it comes down to previous day low. So a long scenario would be if it comes down here and looks like it's going to break out to the downside, grabs liquidity, and then reclaims. Or the bearish scenario obviously is the opposite. So if it sells off quickly and kind of retests the initial balance low, we could get some continuation down. So that is my level that I'm watching for. And it looks like it's finally making its way down there. Could move, if it's going to be a liquidity grab, it could move a little bit below previous day low, because looking left, there's quite a bit of wicks and liquidity down here too at like 768-ish. I mean, honestly, even down to 750, but that would be a huge like dump and then reclaim for a failed auction. That'd be a 30-point move outside of the initial balance range and then reclaiming. That's not as likely for a failed auction. It's not a good look, though, if it gets below 778. Brandon, how many contracts would you recommend sticking with to grow and pass a funded account? Good question. And honestly, it depends. It depends on the size of the account, and then it depends on your like trading strategy and your win rate. So for me, I usually trade the 50K accounts. So there's $2,000 in drawdown. I personally risk $200 per trade because that gives me 10 losses, which for me, knowing my stats and my win rate, 10 losses in a row is not very likely. Not that it doesn't happen, but for me, usually if I'm trading well, following my rules, sizing appropriately, I'm not going to lose an account. When I blow accounts, it's because I oversize, overtrade, etc. So that's how I do it, is $200 per trade. And then I'll use this risk to reward tool if you're using TradingView, or it's even available in like Project X or whatever you're trading with. This risk to reward tool, I go into my settings and I change my input to risk $200. And then it tells me right here, quantity, I should take 6.6 contracts of MNQ. So that's how I figure it out. I don't have a specific number, like it's always going to be 3 contracts or it's always 5 contracts, because it depends on what my stop loss is. So for me, it's $200. For you, I don't know. I mean, if you feel like you have a really good strategy and a really high win rate, maybe you could risk more because you don't take as many losses. Or if you're still a newbie and you want to give yourself a lot of chances to lose because you're kind of just practicing, then maybe only risk $100 per trade. And then also, if you're not using the 50K, maybe you have a 150K account and you have more drawdown, you could risk more. So hopefully that kind of gives you a framework to figure out for yourself what you want to risk. All right, Nick, have a good day. Have a good one, Scott. Yeah, Ephraim, that's what I'm watching for. That's why I have my little red dot here. This is kind of the level that I'm watching. If we get a strong bounce here, I'd be looking for longs. If we break below it, have a strong sell-off, and then we maybe like retest it, I'd be looking for short continuation. This is the line in the sand. And then for continuation lower, zooming out, I mean, we have this obvious wick here at like 750, but really I could see it coming down lower to this level at 710-ish if we're getting continuation lower. I think 710 would probably be my target for short continuation. But we'll see what we get here at initial balance low. Lucid consistency is from your best day. Yeah, that's how most prop firms work. So if you want to just hit the $3,000 target, then divide $3,000 by, or multiply it times 35%. What I personally do for the 50K accounts, if you care about what I do, I personally trade to a $4,000 profit target because my goal is to keep the accounts as long as possible. So for me, $3,000 profit, and then you take the max payout of $1,500, that only leaves you with $1,500 of drawdown. And just for me personally, that's not much. Like I'm probably going to blow the account if if I get to restart the account after a payout with $1,500 in drawdown. So what I do is I trade to $4,000, so I have $2,500 in drawdown left. And that gives me a better chance of actually keeping those accounts. So for me, I set my daily max profit target at $1,400 because that's what 35% of 4,000 is. But that's what I would do, is just figure out what you want your profit target to be and then multiply by 35% and set your lockout limit at that number. Do I copy trade? Yes, I do. I personally have 5 Lucid accounts, Lucid Pro accounts that I copy trade. And then I have 3 TradeDay accounts that I copy trade. So 2 different prop firms, 8 accounts total. Slowly making its way down to initial balance low. Hasn't quite touched it. Kind of just playing around with that level. If we're to take longs, I would want to see like a quick dip, liquidity grab, quick buy up. That's what I like to see for liquidity grabs. It can't be a slow grind kind of thing. Steve, my bias today was, I guess I can show you my trading plan that I put together last night. So I shared this in my Discord last night. Above this level at like 805-ish, I was looking for longs targeting point of control. So I actually did take a long here, and I got out at 887, I think was my target. Didn't quite go all the way up to point of control. And then my thoughts for shorts were, if we break below this, like if we sell off below this 760 level, maybe get a little retest, I would be looking for shorts. So we're kind of at that level now. Like if it holds here, initial balance low is right here at 784. So if it holds this and we get a bounce, I would still be looking for longs. That's kind of why if we hold above this level, we could be going back up. But we will see. Thanks, Scott. I feel like I'm pretty hard on myself sometimes, and I expect perfection a lot. I'm like, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not making $15,000 every month. But yeah, I guess I can look back and say that I've made great progress in a year. Always trying to improve, though. Yeah, I did work with a mentor for a couple of months. Strategy wise, I only learned on YouTube. I didn't like buy any courses or learn how to trade from any one person. I've just watched thousands of hours of YouTube videos and on tons of different stuff like RSI, MACD, EMA, trend lines, Fibonacci, like all kinds of stuff. And when I found something that made sense in my brain with volume profile, VWAP, a couple of the things that I use, initial balance, 15-minute opening range, I really just dialed in on those and started to like specifically do searches for how to trade volume profile or how to trade initial balance. So to answer your question, straight trading wise, I learned how to trade from YouTube. I did work with a mentor on some of the like mental aspects of trading. So he helped me with kind of just organizing everything. Like some of the things I was struggling with, I was over trading. I lacked confidence in stuff. I was journaling, but I didn't really know what to do with the journaling. Like, what do I do with all this information? So he really just helped me with some clarity. Like I would bring him my chaos at the end of the week and he would just tell me like, okay, next week I want you to focus on these two things, like just this and this. So it helped me just kind of silence the noise because I was, like I said, I was watching tons of YouTube videos and following all kinds of different gurus and just had like chaos in my brain. And it was ugly for a while. Like I would bring in my trade journal and it had like 18 trades a day. So yeah, that's who I worked with my mentor. He didn't really teach me how to trade. He just helped me like organize my trading plan, I guess, if that makes sense. And it was, to answer your question, Joey Morgan. He's on YouTube. He was actually in the chat earlier. He's a good dude. So I try to trade only at session open until maybe 2 hours after the open. Kind of once I get to the point where I'm tired of the chop. Like if there's volatility, I'll continue watching. If it gets choppy and ugly, I don't want to watch anymore. And then if I'm not done, like normally I'll try to be done in the morning and lock out my accounts. But if I still have more room to trade or I want to mentally, I will do power hour in the afternoon again, like the last hour of the open or last hour of the New York session. The YouTuber that I learned the most from about opening range, I don't have a name for that because really I just searched like 15-minute opening range and watched every video that I could find. I'll tell you though, I actually have a 15-minute opening range breakout trading video where I kind of make fun of a lot of the videos that are made on the 15-minute orb. There's a lot of people out there that'll just tell you to set orders, like just set a limit order at the bottom for a sell. If it breaks the bottom, you're immediately in a short, and set an order at the top. So if it breaks the top, you're immediately in a long. That's the stupidest idea ever. Don't do that. So I think it's important to look at the higher time frame and make sure you're not coming into resistance or something like that. All right, so far we're holding initial balance. We did come down to that previous day low and we bounced. And so I'm not entering a long. I would want to see it like a couple candles close above this level. To me, it kind of looks like it wants lower. I think it's going lower. Yep. Broke back below initial balance low. So in my Discord, the original target that I posted for like super bearish scenario was down here at 539. I don't think it'll hit that today necessarily. It could maybe at the end of this week if this downtrend continues. But if I was to enter a short, I think what I would target is these wicks at this level right here, 710-ish. Let me throw on the visible range volume profile and kind of show you guys why I'm thinking that, or why I marked off that level. So you can see here that little ridge where the high volume node sticks out. There's not much below that. So that would kind of be a good target for now, in my opinion. And then if it doesn't hold that, this is why that was my ultimate target down at like 530, because you can see there's a lot of volume right there. Oh, it's bouncing and holding again. This is going to blow some accounts. You feel better now. You feel better now that I think it's going lower? Yeah, well, I mean, it's not holding IB low. That's why I had this red dot here. My thought was previous day low, liquidity grab and bounce, but it's not holding. A liquidity grab is usually quick, you know? But we got a tiny little bounce and now it's going lower. The only possibility I can think is if it comes and grabs this liquidity. If you look left, there's this whole bundle right here. So we still could come down to like 760-ish and bounce. But I don't think so. I think it's going to go lower. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it there. Just because at this point, I personally don't want to take a short because it's kind of chopping around this level. It probably is going to continue lower, but for me, I feel like I'd be chasing it because if I entered here, I would have to put my stop loss like way above that wick. That's a 48-point stop. And then targeting what? 714, that's barely over a 1-to-1 risk to reward. I don't love that. And I've been watching for longs all day, so I would feel kind of like I'm flip-flopping and getting tilted if I all of a sudden enter shorts and I'm chasing. So I think I'm going to be done today, guys. But I appreciate you trading with me. I'll be back tomorrow at the open. If you do want to continue following along with the community, join our Discord. We usually share trades and stuff in there when I'm not on a live session. And then support the channel by using code Krista at Lucid, TradeDay, Top One, Tradeify. Those are the prop firms that I've traded with and I like. So I appreciate it, guys. All right, guys. Have a good one. See you tomorrow.